freaking first cut. Golly.
Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your round one recap for this week's Sony Open. Joining me to break it all down, it's Kyle Porter. KP, hello.
How we doing, Rick? What's that hat?
This is a minor league baseball team. So I cannot remember. There's about 25 teams that they redid in a Cinco de Mayo style. They rebranded them. So this is the Piñatas, but I cannot remember what the real team actually is. I'll have to
who minor league baseball should have consulted with recently?
I'd love to hear.
Live.
Why do you say that?
Well, because Live has, I don't want to talk about Live, but they have all these ridiculous team names, but they did them in like the worst way imaginable, to where you're like, is that clip art?
Yeah.
Right. And it's kind of the same thing as minor league baseball, but they do it in the best way imaginable.
Right.
And in the most marketable way imaginable.
Yes.
And I don't know, I'm not smart enough from a branding and marketing perspective to know there's got to be something that's like a differentiator there. I mean, the logos for one.
So do you know the recent, I don't know, last decade or so of minor league baseball, how all of these teams are rebranding to the Rubber Duckies, the Iron Pigs, the Trash Pandas, like all this stuff. That is one company, one branding company that's doing this.
I think we've talked about this. I think you told me this when we were in Phoenix, maybe.
Yes.
Or yeah, I think we talked about it there. I had forgotten though that it's just one company that like consults with all these teams essentially.
Yeah, so I think they're called Brandios, and they basically get hired to come in, rebrand. They do all the designs. I think they do the uniforms. They do all this stuff, and it's always something outlandish, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's something that's going to get your attention because that's kind of what sells in minor league sports. And then there's all of these metrics where, you know, some of these teams went from one of these teams sold like $2 million worth of revenue in their first year, when their ticket sale revenue is like $150,000.
Well, and $2 million is like more than the entire team is making combined, probably.
Yeah. This is like some, 8,000 seat stadium, a minor league ball somewhere, single A ball somewhere, and like they can turn $2 million. Like people like, I own a God, it might be the Paul Tuckett Hot Weenies shirt.
Okay.
Because their logo is a dachshund in a hot dog bun running around like a crazy person. I'm part of the problem.
Minor league baseball might be the real normal sport.
Oh, dude. Yeah, you would have a field day with minor league baseball.
But Liv should have, Brandios or whatever the name of that organization is. That's who Liv should have hired, because it's minor league baseball is really interesting. You and I played at there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
You and I played at a much lower level than minor league, but we were between high school and minor league baseball, and kind of saw the path to get there. And it's such a, we talk a lot in golf about it's such a grind, mini tours and like Corn Ferry and all this stuff. Minor league baseball makes Corn Ferry Tour look like luxury.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, there are, these are affiliated teams. You're affiliated with teams that have payrolls in the hundreds of millions of dollars. You might be getting paid a couple $100 a week. You're staying with a host family. You are on buses for God knows how long every single week. It's a tough scene.
It's very minor. It's very mini tour ish, but without the. I would maybe tantamount to like a Latin America or Canadian tour type situation.
Yeah,
I would think.
And it's not like there's an overnight. I feel like in golf, there's at least like kind of like almost like a chance to be like an overnight thing. You go out, you win once, you win a second time, something like that. Minor league baseball, it's like, well, I got to put together like 3 good months, and then hopefully I can fall up, and maybe I got to put together like 6 good months then, and then it is a grind.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I played with some guys I played with a guy at Oklahoma State who he was probably the best baseball player I've ever seen, like ever played with or against. He was just did stuff that you're like, his name was Corey Brown. He was unbelievable, like just so gifted, so strong, so quick, so good. And he made it to like AAA.
Yeah. Is that sick?
I don't like get it. Like what? I saw a lot of guys, and so much of that is like right place, right time.
Yes.
But it's that I think that's one of the beautiful things about golf is it's like, well, if you didn't in other sports, you can always say, well, I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Golf, you kind of just I was trying to tell my wife the other day, like, I'm so much better than my score. And she's like, your score is your score.
She got you there.
She did. And and that's like one of the cool things about golf that's kind of been just in tatters over the last year and a half. So anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about the Sony Open.
All right, let's talk about the Sony Open. So where we stand at the moment, we've got, obviously the early wave is done. We've got the vast majority of the leaderboard coming from the early wave. There are a couple of late chargers here. We were talking before we went on air. I'm not positive this round is going to get finished tonight. We'll see, especially some of these guys who still have 6 holes to play or so. But for the vast majority of the day, Taylor Montgomery has been on top of the leaderboard. He did it with 9 birdies. That's the most of anybody on Thursday. 6 pars, 3 bogeys, a 6 under 64 KP. He has continued what was a really good fall into now his first start of January.
Yeah, it's interesting. He played so well at the beginning of 2023, so a year ago. I think he finished 5th at Palm Springs and just really fell off middle of the season. I think Patrick was the one that kind of called that out recently. Popped back up in the fall. I think he finished top 10 at the RSM, but that was his first top 10 since here it is, since American Express, I think in January. So he didn't have any top 10s between then. It's not like the Dubai leaderboard where you're like, oh, Rory is like 5 up on most of the field and he's hitting it great. This is more like Taylor Montgomery is kind of tied or 1 up or 2 up on like 30 guys.
Right.
And he putted really well. So you're kind of like, we'll see,
Yeah, the scoring average right now is, a hair under par. So if you're under par, you're basically within 5 shots of the lead. And with it's going to be windy again on Friday. I mean, there's just a lot of golf to be played. I don't think that Taylor Montgomery is the odds-on favorite to win this by any stretch of the imagination. Now, he is being chased down at the moment by Cam Davis. I mean, Taylor Montgomery was just a fixture on top of this leaderboard all day long. It's been like 8 hours. His name has been on the top of the board, and Cam Davis is out on the golf course right now. He's on the 16th hole. He just hit his approach to 8 feet, so he is going to have a birdie look to get to 7 under par and take the outright lead. And he still has 18 to play, which is very, very easy. So all likelihood, Cam Davis is probably going to be our first round leader. Maybe somebody else could play spoiler to that in a second, but a big bounce back from what we saw from him at the Century.
Yeah, it is. I'm way into Cam Davis. I love Cam Davis. I think you're probably in that camp as well. And I think I don't know. You want to see he kind of pops up here and there. You want to see like a breakout year from him. I think Cam Davis in some ways could be who people think Cam Champ is. They're a little different. Cam Davis is not as fast. He doesn't have the ball speed that Cam Champ has. What is this? This is scorecard. Oh, is this the Rick Run Good?
Josh, yes, this is the Rick Run Good Event Center. Yes.
Yeah. Do like 30 seconds on that, just how that came to be and why you did it. And I was actually on there this morning looking at European Tour stuff.
Yes. So long story short, we call it the Event Center. It's a live shot-by-shot tracker for both the PGA Tour and the European Tour. It's got strokes gained. It's got the plot. You can see it on the course, all that stuff. The reason that I wanted to do it is, and we've talked about this before. You and I talk a lot about like the Rick Run Good business ecosystem, and I always thought Rick Run Good kind of looked forward. I thought it always looked back with historical data, and it didn't have much for live stuff.
Yeah.
And my North Star KP is always like, what do I think is cool and what would I use? I'm the biggest power user of my website. So I was like, what I would want is like a really sick, easy to use tracker where I can see all the shots 45 seconds after they happen and do it for the European Tour and do it for the PGA Tour. And I hooked up with IMG, who's big into golf data now, and they do like 3 of the major championships, the Ryder Cup. They have a deal with the DP World Tour. They have a deal with the PGA Tour, and kind of made it happen.
It's amazing. And I don't know what all you can share, but I was on there trying to figure out some European Tour stuff this morning, and it seemed more detailed even than EuropeanTour.com.
Yeah. So IMG, they're like a player, right? So they go out and they do all the tracking themselves. So they've got like 60 guys out there with like iPads and backpacks. And the craziest part about it is when the ball comes off the club, they use it's like a simulator, right? Like they know, okay, because of this launch angle, because of this trajectory, we know where it's probably going to land. So like within like a millisecond of the ball coming off the club, they're already saying it's going to be in the left rough. And then when it actually stops rolling, somebody with an iPad and GPS like maps it. And it's very detailed. It's constantly getting more detailed. Yeah, I mean it's pretty incredible what they do.
This looks like what the Open Championship used for their stuff. Is that right?
I believe that is correct. I believe the only one that I believe the Masters is the only one that IMG is not working with. Yeah.
Okay.
And we also saw this. I don't know if you remember, KP, but when we were in Phoenix, you know how you could see into some of like the hospitality, and they had huge screens of like, you could see each group going through on like big screen. Like that's what this is.
It's really cool. I'm excited for you. I've already used it, and I think what you said something earlier that I think I probably need to do more often, which is follow your nose. What am, not to turn this into like a lesson on like making content. Maybe it should be. Maybe that's the only people that are watching right now. But you're a good, like, you have to trust yourself as a tastemaker. Are you a good tastemaker or not? First of all, you have to be self-aware enough to know if you're a good tastemaker or not. And if you are, then you have to trust like, like what would I want? What itch do I have that I would want to go scratch? And I think that's where you and I have found some success. We've failed in that area a lot too, but I think there has come some success from doing those types of things, because you can get caught up in all these formulas and like, oh, well, if you do this, then this, and it's like, I don't know, man, like just make cool stuff that you think is cool and that you think that you want, and other people will probably want it too.
Or jumping at every suggestion, right? Someone's like, oh, hey, I wish I could see X, Y, and Z. And it's like, okay, let me try to do that. And it's like to please one person. And then you're doing that 100 different times. It's
because that
fine line.
That person might be not a good tastemaker.
Correct.
Anyway,
Cam Davis. During that 30 second Cam Davis has made his 4th birdie in a row. He has taken the lead. He's going to play 17 right now, which is playing over par, but then he is going to finish up on 18, which is one of the easiest holes on the golf course. So all likelihood, Cam Davis is going to be your overnight leader. The only guy still out there who's probably capable of giving him a run is Norman Zhang. Let's go.
Really
The
exciting.
Year of Norman is upon us. He goes out in 30. He's made 3 straight pars on 10, 11, 12. So he still has, of course, he just made bogey on 13. So drops back down to 4 under, gave that little curse right there. But Norm Monday qualified into this. So he has his PGA Tour card, but was like, I think he was like first or second alternate. Monday qualified in, and now he's trying to take advantage and make a run at this thing.
Yeah, he's kind of, it's weird. He's a late bloomer in the sense that professionally he's a late bloomer. I remember watching him whenever the NCAAs were at Carson Creek in Stillwater. I went up to cover it and just to kind of watch. And I think that was 2017. It was the Matthew Wolff, Victor Hovland team. And I remember watching Zhang for a little bit, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is just, the sound was so different. He was just, it was incredible. And I think that was the year there was a kid, maybe producer Josh can look this up. The kid that won was kind of a nobody, was not a big prospect. He was a left-hander from like a small college. I can't remember where, but he ended up winning. And I think he was playing with Zhang, and you're just like, these guys don't even play the same sport. And so it was interesting. And I think a little bit sad to see Zhang struggle as a pro early, but all that to say, he's kind of come all the way back around. And I watched him a little bit today. He seemed very just jovial and like just excited. Like it was I'm rooting for him. I'm excited about what he could be.
He's the best player I've ever played with. So like I've played a round with him, and it was insane what he was doing. And it was at a time where he had no status anywhere, was in the worst form he's probably ever been in. And I'm like, oh my God, I've never even imagined half of this stuff.
What was the most impressive part?
I don't know if so there's a hole at TPC Summerlin. It's 13. It's the par 5 on the back, where he was absolutely imprisoned over that green. The green is you can't see the surface. He's way down below it. He's in thick rough. There's just no chance to even get this ball on the green, and he hit the greatest, softest, most beautiful shot I've ever seen. Got it to bite, and he sunk it for eagle. And I was like, I'm very shook right now.
Yeah, as you should be. I've played with some guys like that, and I think that for me, it's the consistency of just being able to hit the same shot over and over and over and over and over again, right? To where you're like, yeah, I could maybe get into one, and I hit one drive every 7 rounds, like 325 down the middle, and you do it like every single time. I mean, not literally, because they miss fairways and they hit bad shots, but when you're playing with somebody like that, it feels like it's every time. So yeah, anyway, excited for Norman Zhang this week.
We are going to, that's basically the top of the leaderboard. Cam Davis out in front, 2 holes to play. Taylor Montgomery, Aaron Rye, Austin Eckert, Steven Yeager, Webb Simpson, all at 5 under. They're all in the clubhouse. We're going to hit some notables, and we're going to talk about Brock Everett after a quick word from our partners. It's And we're back. Brock Everett, was that the name you were looking for?
It is. Soft hitting lefty. I bet he's not thriving in the pros. I wonder what his world rank is.
Yeah. All right, let's talk a couple of notables here. Chris Kirk, 4 under 66, bogey free. Now, he was on the easier side of things, but there were plenty of bogeys out there. A sound and steady birdie on 17, birdie on 18, birdie on 5, birdie on 9, because he started on the 10th hole, and Chris Kirk is right back in it again for a second week.
Brock Everett, by the way, 12 events as a pro ever. Best finish was T35. Hasn't played anywhere since 2021. I don't think he's a professional golfer.
I'll try to find out what he's doing right now.
Which is crazy. Yeah, Chris Kirk, my one and done guy. I read his quotes, his transcript afterwards, and he was talking about how, you know, even though I sort of picked him because I didn't think there would be any, I didn't think he would get like too ahead of himself in winning a tournament. He's kind of a steady guy, just kind of stays in his world, does his thing. And he talked about how it was actually hard to sleep for a couple of days because he was so excited, which was cool. Like that was fun to read. But he said he's kind of back in the groove this week, and I mean he's just playing great golf, right? Like to go out here, clean card, 4 birdies, 66, following what he did, 29 under at Kapalua. He's just Kevin Kisner said this on the broadcast last week. He's like 2023 was probably the best golf he's, as good as he's played in a long time. You can go back to 14 when he won the a playoff event and finished second in the FedEx Cup. And I would put this run kind of right there with what he did in 2014.
Brock Everett is currently a market analyst for a company called Intercontinental Exchange in Atlanta. So that's what he is up to. Eric Cole, there were not many bogey-free 66s. Chris Kirk had one. Eric Cole had one. These are guys, I don't know what to do with Eric Cole. I didn't think this was particularly a great spot for him. I wasn't confident about the way that he hits it off the tee. He did plenty, and he is inside the top 10 again.
Didn't somebody have him? Okay, I had him to win, and I thought somebody else had him for something. I had him to top 20. There you go.
Oh yeah, you were. Yes. Okay.
I was
so far so good.
I was all over him. Josh has him. Okay, maybe this is what I was thinking of. Josh has him in one and done. Eric Cole is, man, I'm really interested by this year because you look at him and you don't think like, oh, could contend at majors, but man, he's playing really well at, I know Sony is not, a big boy event, but he's playing very well at some, like, just everywhere. Like I would say he's one of the hottest players in the world right now, which if you just told a random golf fan that, they'd be like, who? Right? Like if somebody that just watches the majors or the US Open, they're like, I've literally never heard of Eric Cole. You're like, I don't know, man. Like he's one of the hottest players one of the hottest golfers in the world right now. So he finished, right? This is, yeah. Okay. So he's 66.
Yeah. I mean, his fall was 4th, 35th, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd. Then he went 14th at the Century. He's in the mix here, and his 2023 was good enough to win him Rookie of the Year. So, I mean, it's remarkable stuff. Let's get to Ludvig here, who I believe just wrapped his round, an even par round of 70. It's going to be a hair worse than field average, T65. It was a slow start. He went out in 1 over. He made a double on 5 where he had to play backwards. He made a bogey on 8. He was able to kind of right the ship with birdies on 9, 10, and 11 KP, but he's in it. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. I watched some of his round, and at one point I was like, how is he 1 under? It does not feel like he should be 1 under. Yeah, I don't have a ton on him either. I mean, he should be, guy's swing is just so good. It's not just the driver. I was watching him hit irons today, and it's just so easy. It's almost, it's not Fred Couples like, because I think Fred and Ernie Els, those guys, their swings are like the easiest ever with great speed. But man, it's kind of like adjacent to that, which is just awesome to watch.
Missed left on 3, missed left on 5, missed left on 6, missed left on 8. Well, he missed left on 10, but it was green side, so I'm not gonna beat him up for that one. Missed left on 13. Then he started overcorrecting, missed right on 14, missed right on 15. I mean, he missed right on 18. He sprayed it off the tee. I mean, if he finds like 3 more fairways tomorrow.
What happened on 5? I didn't see that.
5, I got these two confused. So 8 is when he had to pitch backwards. 5, he was in the trees on the left, and there's like that water that cuts in front, and he just kind of like left it. He just punched it out in front of that, and then he flew the green on his 3rd and was in like a pretty horrible spot. And then his 3rd came up like he like just got it on top in the fringe, and then it was like a straight downhill putt. I mean, he just made a mess of the thing.
I think one problem that he has now is just there's so many guys up there that, yeah, you can make a run, but this is kind of the type of place where you need to put just 4 like consistently good rounds together, you know.
Now he will have to have the round of the day on one day.
Yeah, right, totally. Like something special, like a 62 or whatever, which he could. I mean, he's obviously done that before, but yeah, he's been inconsistent to start the year. It's a little bit of what I thought of. Hey, short-term sell, long-term buy as much as you can.
We'll open it up to anybody else in a second, but Will Zalatoris is back in this field. He shot a 76. He is in a tie for 140th. There are only 2 golfers currently done worse than him, and there is one who will be. Hunter Larson's 18 over, but Will Zalatoris making his 2024 debut, and it was pretty ugly. KP, I think there's at least a little bit more optimism about. He said in his pre-tournament interview, he's played 20 rounds since the Hero World Challenge. He's been playing competitive money games. It did not translate.
No, and this is what we saw at Hero, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did see that shot he hit on 9. That was sick.
That was sick. He stuffed it to like a couple feet and rolled it in for eagle. Yeah.
It was a really good shot. The putting is just I don't know. I mean,
he still has the thing, and he's using the long putter, and he still has like the pausey, yippy stroke.
Yeah. I mean, is it going to be just a Lucas? Like, is he Lucas Glover?
I think I saw Lucas Glover missed about an 18-inch putt today. Let me see if I can find it.
Remember when people wanted to bet the Ryder Cup that he figured out putting?
Dude,
I think you were on that.
No,
on that train. No, you wanted Keegan, right?
I wanted Keegan big time.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, Zalatoris was bad. I mean, whatever, right? Like, I don't care about Sony. I don't care about wherever he plays next. I want to see where he's at Augusta 4 months from now, right? Like, just take the spring, figure it out, get used to the body, the swing, all that stuff. But yeah, it wasn't. I mean, it's not great. It's probably not what he expected. Guys like that, especially I know he's playing here in Merrido and Dallas and playing a ton, and I'm sure shooting great scores. So you don't go out there thinking like, well, I hope I can hold it together. He's probably going out there thinking I'm going to shoot 66, and then you shoot 76, and that's got to be a little bit jarring.
I also know he's a professional, and I'm not going to like try to cut him a million breaks, but it does suck to like, okay, I'm going to get back out there. Now it's blowing 25 miles an hour and gusting to like 32 every single shot. And I'm rusty and I don't know my trajectories or how to, I'm all screwed up already. So
yeah. And producer Josh just said something. I was thinking this today during his round. He said it's, is it something where Zalatoris were like, man, his swing was awesome until his back broke down. And then it wasn't awesome, and he just sort of faded away. I don't think that's going to be the case. I hope that's not the case, but that's on the table,
it's
right?
Definitely on the table. I'm like 2 years away from declaring that.
Sure. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. He was so good. It'd be different if he was like one of the like Pearson Cootie,
right?
But he was like he almost won 3 majors.
Sorry.
And so you get a lot of leeway and benefit of the doubt there.
Lucas Glover missed a 16-inch putt today. That is 1 foot 4 inches.
That's not good.
Jeez.
Scheffler almost missed one that short last. I was reading your newsletter. I think he missed a 2'7".
I think it was 2'11", but yeah.
Oh,
well. I mean, this is half of that.
I know. I took my kids to play golf today. I think my 4-year-old missed a 1 foot 8 inch putt. I know she did, actually.
I don't even think his touched the hole.
Hers definitely didn't.
Anybody else? KP. I mean, Keegan held his round together. Corey Connors is even par. The golf course was easier in the morning. It's going to be windy basically all day tomorrow. Gary Woodland back for the first time, shot a 71. Any of these interesting to you?
I mean, Woodland, it's a crazy story. Really, really encouraging, cool story. He shared it. We wrote it up. He shot 71, said it's the happiest he's ever been shooting over par. But yeah, I mean, that's obviously awesome. I think Chris Kirk going back to back would be that would be cool, and obviously there's other interesting storylines up there. We haven't even gotten to Alejandro Tosti.
Oh, he's a menace.
He might be the menace.
Oh my God.
He was
sitting by the green side, waiting for his playing partners to hit their approaches up. He's the best.
Incredible. Like, just does not care. So yeah, it's a fun little first day. It should be a good weekend.
Very quickly, it's probably a fool's errand, but because the odds are changing every second. Cam Davis currently the favorite to win. He's 6.5 to 1. Everybody else is basically 12 to 1 or longer. Chris Kirk is at 11 to 1, which honestly at this point, pretty darn good. 2 shots off the lead, playing great golf, 11 to 1. I think I could get in on that. That's probably where I would look on this Thursday night.
Yeah, I think him, Cole's just been so good in like really good fields.
Yeah.
That I think he gets a little bit of benefit of the doubt there when it's not as good of a field. I think he's playing the type of golf where you're like, I think he could finish in the top 5, which at 16 to 1 after round 1 is kind of intriguing.
Luke List 3 shots back, 50 to 1.
You're all in on it. Might be the year of the List.
I think so. It's going to be Norm and List. 3 total wins.
That would be
that's a ton.
That would be sick.
It'd be sick though. I'd be excited for that. Okay. We'll be back Friday night. I don't think they're gonna get this round in. We'll be back Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night to recap the rest of the Sony Open. Big thanks to producer Josh, does all the hard work behind the scenes. You can find Kyle Porter on Twitter at Kyle Porter CBS. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.